All right, let's continue the last stream that we left. That would be embedded database. What do we have here? db.c. Where were we? We were in this file, right? Okay. Okay. What we did last time was nothing. Okay, so I did write the request object. Is my tests are building? Test suite pass the okay, so they are fine. So I think where am I in this thing? Let's call this editor first. I think the data db request object that I created, we are not using it in this thing in our APIs. All these assets, I don't even know if these assets are working or not, because for some reason I have a feeling that my tests are not executing these functions or something like this, because I think the crucial step is missing. The thread test test thread priority is 2. Okay. Okay, so hmm. I have no idea what to do. The user has defined the table. What is this tr? Okay, so this is a row, and the user wants to send a write request. db request write row and receive. I'll think about the API naming later. First thing is functionality. What do I do in this function? Doing nothing in this function. Need to first create some threads in here. Yes, I would need to create threads in here, and I was hoping to avoid this until later in the stage, but I think I cannot. Fuck, fuck me. I'll have to copy paste some code from earlier. It, that's a lot of burden for me, mental burden. पानी दा रंग चढ़ा के Ah, the fuck, man. Are we even alive? Yes, we are. Concurrent viewers 0, chat rate 0, views 0, average view duration minus. नियड़िए पानी दा रंग चढ़ा के. So if I should create a thread first. Okay, let's pull out ChatGPT. I would suggest, because why not? Control new, put it on my recording screen. ChatGPT. Don't show these things, brother. They are highly sensitive. Okay, create thread in Zephyr Rtos. Clean slate. Arey mother. And was something else. Keep version 3.7.0 in mind. Keep Rtos, Zephyr Rtos version 3.7 in context. Create a thread. Now, am I even recording this? Yes, I am. Now show me how to create thread. So my stack size is this. Priority I'll define later, which is, I think it's the main thread priority. A thread define. Declare stack and thread data. Okay, so you're defining the stack here, and the data that the thread is going to use. That define is preferred over the tag defined for single stack. Is recommended instead of hard coding stack size. Cool. Yes, I remember this part. Priority in Zephyr lower the number, higher the priority. Of course. Too busy waiting for better power efficiency. Cool. If you can see, you can figure another define as well. Statically, I don't want to create a statically. Okay, so the first thing is we start with main. We'll create thread create, and then figure out what we need. Header file is kernel thread, of course. This is a drag. Zephyr kernel.h. अब तक कहाँ थी भाई? What do I say? This thing takes ktid. I hate these type of type defs. In cat on my nerves. db tid, fuck off. Thread id. I don't want to write anything fancy. I want to create kthread create. Okay, show me the. So the pointer to the kthread. Okay, so this must be the kthread data, which is db thread. Am I going to use only one thread? I think so. db thread data takes the reference. Show me other things. Thread create. Okay, another thing is stack size k, and okay, the pointer to the stack. What was that? My stack area. So that must be but why aren't we using the reference? db stack, and then kthread is the convention stack, the stack size of thread belongs to stack, and I want to know the size of db thread thread stack, right? Yep. And the next thing is stack size. Another thing is entry function, and then the parameters priority, options, timeout delay, all these things are 0. पानी दा रंग चढ़ा के रानी अड़िए पानी दा. Okay, so the next thing is my entry function, which is db thread thrad. I really want to pass some parameters into these things because it's very useful. The priority, what was that? Priority is for the time being main thread priority. What was prj? It was this config main thread priority. I have no fucking idea what did I do earlier times. I'll keep the priority 1 so that this has a way to run. What else? Another option was um, other options, like it is not a kernel thread, so I don't have to pass any options into this, and there is no delay. Okay, no wait. Now I have to define this thing called static kthread db thread data. What the fuck? Kthread. What? Oh, that is stack define. Baji, what? Why aren't you giving me completion properly? Stacks are defined, my stack area, my stack size. Okay, okay. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this completion? I hope this gives me documentation. No, it doesn't. Motherfucker. Am I using something wrong? Config user space. Else kthread is tag reserved. What is else? Tag kernel. If not defined, thread is tag symbol name, and what my concern is, what my concern is this thing, like why passing by thing. Fuck it. db thread stack size is what, 2 KB, 3 KB, 4 KB, 5 KB, 6, 7, 8. Stack size should be 2 KB is enough. What is your problem, sir? Use of struct. Okay. Why just can't you use type defs? Huh? db thread. Okay, so you don't find you don't find this function, huh? Cool. I hear you, brother. Return type is void, right? I forgot everything. I forgot everything. A0 A2 People would say, why don't you follow convention? Because I can avoid them, so I avoid them. So this okay, so let me just simply put INF percent s. Okay, okay. What are you? Why are you crying now? Too many arguments. Function call. Expect 10, got 11. How? First one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And my priority thread is stack. First one is this, then the stack, then the stack size. Stack size. How did this key thread create came here, man? I created key thread TID, and what do I do with this? What does it thing return? Okay, struct pointer to this thing. Does it return anything? What is KTID? Returns KTID. ID of new thread. How is this a ID? I never understand that. It's a fucking pointer. How is this ID? Are you using addresses as ID? Huh? This is directly the thing defined by the architecture, but all ours need this. Thread base callie saved is static thread init data thread waiting in kthread join polar events. What are you saying? Next event link. Events are defined. Timeout should not wake the thread. No wake on timeout. Okay. Tag monitor. Thread entry and parameters description. Next item in list of all threads. Thread name is not defined. Custom data is also not defined. Per thread error number variable. Oh la la. Stack info. Thread stack info. Memory domain info of the thread. Base address of thread stack. If memory mapped stack, is enabled. This is the physical address of the stack. Okay, the whole like, did you actually, what the fuck, you actually created this long ass line, huh? How long is this line? This is 104 and this is 217. What the fuck, bro? What the fuck? Oh la la. Oh, warning 29 पे है. Config user space pinned functions implement that is stack get z implement k thread create. So you are not just a compiler barrier. What does it do? Acha. Will I ever get to this? I don't think so. I ever will. Forget. Does it ever fail? Does k thread fail? If so, what would be the return value? Does not return an error code. Instead, it always returns a red caddy, which is just a pointer to the result you passed in. If there is a problem like out of memory, the behavior is undefined or system specific, usually resulting in kernel assertion failure or runtime follow. What the fuck, man? From does not provide error feedback. It assumes the caller provide valid stack and thread structure. Why Zephyr design assumes thread control structures and stacks are reallocated by the developer. So memory resource management is deterministic. Always make sure stack size is big enough for the thread's need. Use tool like stack info and stack size detection during development to detect stack overflow or size issues. Okay. Stack info. What does this thing do? Do I have this enabled? Brief me on these. Runtime stack usage information for each thread. Allows APIs like stack space get to report how much unused stack space remains for a thread. near overflow and stuff when enabled. Development and debugging phases not ideal for production if you want to save memory and CPU cycles. Special markers fills unused stack space with a known value, usually a. At runtime, the system can scan the stack to determine usage. Works in conjunction with this overhead slight memory and runtime overhead because of the fill pattern and extra checks, and to enable during development to optimize stack sizes, disable, release, blah, blah, blah. Oh, so I have to call this? I'll not do it. I will not do it. Not yet. So I'm assuming this thing works. If so, let's just see. Okay, so it is, yeah, now it prints food. So the this I assumed, and after 10 seconds, but it will not time out because I'm running it. I'm not running it in Twister. Okay, okay. So how do I return? I think I can do this. Sleep and it will return int timeout. What is the timeout producer desired? KM sleep timeout. What are you? Integer? Hi. K timeout but argument is of type पानी दा रंग चढ़ा के okay. What do I do with this thing? But buddy, you are not giving me anything. What the fuck is this timeout value? What is that represent a time duration or time value used in Google okay, no wait, okay, forever. How do I do ticks, Pradeep? I want a simpler function. What is simpler function that takes second as simple alternative to this parameter is पता ही था भाई, मैं ट्राई कर ही रहा था. अरे दादा, cool. So it does, and so you put it in sleep and the main test thread runs, which of course ends the testing. Yeah, so I can do this thing. KTID, I'm not gonna do this thing. Are you gonna complain? No. US TWIS Twister Haji. Will I receive anything on the screen? So you start the test. I think it did. This is the twister run and running test CUTDB, start ADB, print something. This is the summary. Cool. Okay, so now that I have created a thread, I want to create a queue. Okay, key to queue, key to queue, key to queue. I really don't want to. I don't feel comfortable when a library like internally depends on a thread for its function. I understand that's not the level of abstraction that is needed right now, but imagine a library is nothing but some functions called APIs, exposed functions, public APIs, whatever they want to call it, and it just asks you to call this function in some manner. Now, how do you call this function? You call it in a single thread, you create multiple threads. Point is, you give this thread level control to user, because library is only using threads to assert some control over the execution mechanism, like which things gets executes first or which not. For example, in this case, the thread is purely needed for the queue. As long as I have the data in the queue, this thread runs, process the elements inside the queues, and then just goes to sleep. Instead of creating a thread inside this library, I can simply create a function which would depend so in that case, what would happen is that if the user calls this function, then and at least he will call this in a single some thread. At least main thread is going to be there. So if nothing is there, then I can do that. I can sort of pass the yes, yeah. I don't have to allocate. I don't have to put the thread logic in this. I can simply return the code. Let's just say, for example, let's say I have created a function, upper level function, some update function. Let's just say db update, and the user calls this db update in some loop. This is very clearly written in the usage documentation of this thread, this database, and user calls this update function in a loop. And what this update function returns is that whether there are more elements in the queue or not, whether there is something to be processed or not. If there is not, that means everything has been processed. So on the basis of written code, I can design this database, but it's better to first spit out the first iteration. Then we can move on to the non-threaded version, which would be more polished, of course. Okay, moving on. So I created this thread inside this. Now I want a queue so that I can put these request objects into that queue, and then this TV thread, this thread function will process on this. So the structure would be something like this. If k message queue get okay request queue, which is should I do this or should I do this? I'm always confused when it comes to this single alphabets. Like just for a single alphabet, it's a gymnastic on my fingers, but I'm typing nonetheless, so that's lesser of a issue than this looking weird, like hanging like a sore throat. So I just fuck it. What is the to the pointer? What I want. So from the queue, I want to extract. This is a request queue, so obviously this is the request, and the timeout is k no sorry k wait forever, no, right? K what k forever होगा I think. Yeah. Why the fuck isn't working? Do I queue something? No. Anything? KQ Q. The fucking time waste, man. Uh, Small message packets. I don't know. I think my message packets are small, but there's no real world performance issues. At least not now. What is the header file, buddy? Kernel. Then why isn't it showing me? Returns this. Queue is empty. Works between threads. Would get. This thing. I think there was a way to. There was a way to. I don't know if I want to define this in a different way, like without using this macro or not. I'm just confused for the time being. मात्र 41 सेकंड हो. I think this guy gave me this thing gave me inspiration to put it like this. You name size and align. What is align? Must match architecture needs. I don't know what these architecture needs are. You name queue message size, which is what? For the timing to process 10. Message received. If whatever you receive, if it is not equals to 0, then I would want you to is there a function to convert error codes into error names in Zephyr? Built-in function like str error converts all errorable item into double strings. What Zephyr does offer is z error number plus error number limiter scope. Zephyr has an error number system compatible with POSIX function. If this may be available if POSIX compatibility is enabled. Including it conditionally for the fuck it, man. If I encounter something which is not 0, then I warn it and I continue for the next thing. If I encounter 0, that means I have received the object from the request queue. Now what do we want to do with this? How do I create switch queue using macro? Come on, think, brother, think. You kidding me? Without using here where thing is broke, man. Can you auto this thing? Okay, message queue defined. Done. So I create a buffer, I create a message queue, create a buffer. I was thinking to doing something else, but whatever. Okay, so at this point so let me first put something inside these things. which is into this queue. What do I want to put? I want to put this request. Cool. What are this? Same thing. And how is it read row and write row different? If they are oh, so inside the queue there would be a read requests and write request, and when this loop extracts this request, let's just say I create some function called process request and I pass in this request, and inside this function, how does it know what this request is, whether it is a read request or write request? So I have to have some kind of indication. I think should put that indication into the request object itself, or should I create some other thingy to have that information? For the simplicity, I can pass it inside this, like type. Okay, I'll do this. I'll simply pass in the I don't feel comfortable doing that. I don't know, man. I don't know what to do. The thing is, my whole internal implementation somehow depends on the request of a public request object, which is not a good thing, but a lot of things are not good things, and we still do them. So, well, just let me put. Yeah, right. She doesn't have this boolean type. What is the fix? That would mean this cannot remain constant. Why did I do this thing? Standard int 0101. Right request. I put that request down there, and now I can say I have an optimization, not optimization, a slightly better thing to do, which would be, can I get away with this? Can I compile this right now? Does it compile? Yes, it does. What I wanna do is just say that there is a thing called db request type. Field has incomplete type. Request field incomplete or sizeless. That is true. Apparently, if I do any of these things, then I have to expose this here. Do you work? Again, incomplete. But putting an enum would make my life a lot easier inside the db thread. I can put a switch statement and because I can see this database have more than just read row and write row requests. पानी दा रंग चढ़ा के. Okay. Buddy, there is a request. Hmm. Okay. Cases. What do you wanna do? Row index. Row index is size t, so the value is greater than or equals to what is this table thing, but I cannot do this because the table is of type void. What is the type of the table in that case? It's a DB table. So if the value is greater, row index is greater or equals to my row size, because remember row index is 0 to the size minus 1. So if it is becomes equal size, then it is also a problem. So I'm taking care of the all the cases that goes beyond the bigger equal size. So if it is equals to this or greater than this, equal greater than, then it is a problem. Row size is row index is equals to equal or greater than table row size. Row index, which is long unsigned, request row index is greater than table row size. uh, आई थिंक वो भी टेक केयर कर लेना चाहिए फिर अगर ऐसा है तो. Request dot type is greater or equals to okay. So now the thing is, if it is if it is read request, what do I wanna do? And if it is write request, what do I wanna do? It's a simple read write in the table. In some tables row, I have the index. I have everything, fucking everything. So I can probably do this. I can do if it's a read request, the data will flow from row to user. So for that, I have to have table, which I do, and have to have table. I have to get the request. I have no idea how do I do this. So once I so from this table, from these rows, from this array, I have to how do I pick this row? If it is read request uh, from the table. Okay, so what is this row? This row will be a pointer into the I basically have the index, so why don't I just copy but the thing is this row index might want to read from a row that has not been written yet. For that I have to track which row has been written, the latest written row. I can use a hash map to keep track, but no, I don't know, man. Thing is, thing is, I don't know what the thing is. I was thinking something, but now I lost track of the thought. Yeah, row count. I was thinking this thing. This thing. This row count sort of keeps track of what is the current row index. That has the data. Can I mean if I rewrote some row, I don't know how this row count would help. Like the max rows make sense. This is the maximum number of rows I can have. Because the thing is, let's just say I wrote at some index 10 in a 15 max row table, and that 10th row that I have written, and then my first time I write at the 10th row, then this row count will equals to 9, right? 10 minus 1. Now I write 11th row, so the row count become 10. 11 minus 1. And I'm never deleting any row, so the data is always there. So I filled my point is, will this row count ever decrease? It will not decrease, because whenever I write, I increase this row count to keep track my current row count. Uh, that means once I hit 15 write operations, unique write operations, then my row count will become 15 minus 1 equals to 14. So now I can pick any row index. Right. So now I can pick any row index, but before that I cannot. So if my row index is greater than row size, or it is greater than or equals to row count. Row count equest dot tx equals to row count, which is fine, but again row count is row size minus 1. So if my index ever hits greater than, then it is a problem, but for equals to, it is not a problem. So if it hits row size equals to, then it is a problem, because row size, let's just say 15. If it row index hits 15 equals to, it is a problem. 16 is definitely a problem, but 14 is row index, 15 is row size, and 14 is row count. Count actually, if I put one value, then the count will increase by 1. That means I have 1. So if I put 15 values, count will increase, it will have 15 values. So no, this will be also equals to this. Okay, so this row index validity will, no. I can't put this in here because it's, yeah, I definitely cannot put it in here. I need a callback function to copy. How do I copy? What is the source and destination? Source and destination, huh? You say. I want to read from certain row. What is the table? This is the table. So table gives me the data, which is a pointer to that row arrays. From that data, I want to move down. I want to move by how many rows. That depends on the row size. So the data is my starting position. From the starting position plus that address is the starting position. It plus plus whatever the size of the row multiplied by uh, how many rows I want down. So row index. Arithmetic on pointer to void is GNU extension. Unused variable row. Okay, so I don't know what this row size is definitely a number. This row index is definitely a number. This has to get converted into a single byte, which means it is unsigned integer pointer. So this is that row, actually a pointer itself, which needs to be copied. But for before that, this row index has to be validated. Since it is a read operation, uh, if equest request dot row index, for this only I cannot read before I write, so I have to check both the conditions, the row count as well as row size. So this directly gets copy pasted on line 13. That means if my row index is greater than row size or equals to, that is a problem, and if the row index is greater than equals to row count, then it is also a problem. Why? Because row count is never going to decrease, and for initial times I can't read a row which has not been written yet. So this is the problem. Row request row index which is this is equal slash greater than table row size, or table row count, which tracks how many rows has been written. I know it's a long ass message, but hey, 29 characters only. Then we sort of break from this case, from this switch. After that, if we pass it, that means we are good to go. And now I'll copy bytes from this row into the user callback, which is again for simplicity I'm going to pass everything into this request object. So request dot response इस रिक्वेस्ट का जो रिस्पॉन्स है वो ये रहेगा कि this is the bytes, this is the row, I'll give you a pointer to the row which has the data, and row size, and now you can copy this many bytes into your thingy, but void response, which takes again IST n bytes. You cannot modify this, and you cannot modify this data as well. Number of bytes. इधर भी अपने को मोर और लेस सेम ही करना पड़ेगा, बट now if my right index is greater than this, then it is a problem. But I can write beyond my row count initially. CT bracket read request row is greater or equal to table row size. D. Now that I have valid thingy, I can do, okay, so I want the row again where the write operation has to happen, the row that needs writing. So I'll again typecast the thing, call it a data, and then plus something into it, which is row size times the index. And now I'm mem copy the mem copy the destination, which is my row. What is the source? Source is this guy, which is a void. And what is the size? Size is this thing, which is a size t, is a void pointer, again a void pointer, passed as destination. Oh, nice. Passed as source, and I mem copied it. And now what I'll do, I'll increase this thing, row count plus plus, which is size t. And after this I have to that this is the row that has been modified, and these are the of bytes that has been written. In both cases it is same. Does it make sense for response to be this in the right request type? I mean, user does wanna know how many bytes has been returned to what row. Then I think it is better to pass in this calculated row pointer, so the user can compare this calculated row with the one he passed into the APIs. I think this settles it. So if my request type is this, I'll do this, do this, do this, and this is my DB thread. I have no. I think I am good to go. Row index, assert row index. Another invariance is this. It has to be less than row count, because I cannot read the row is greater than maximum number of rows that is being returned, which hasn't been done yet. Duh. But I can write again. Oh, I need to contain this row count, because so I first write, then I increment. If I write first row, I increment it by 1. So if I write out of 15 rows, if I have written 14 rows, then on this line, till now the row count was 14. Because in the previous run I written it and it updated. So when it comes in the next iteration, it will find it the previous value, which is, I'm assuming, 14, and you write it, you increment it, which is 15. Now you write it, okay, but you don't write it in here. You don't because 14 rows has been written. You come here, you write another row, you increment it to 15, you send the response. On the next iteration, the row is 15 row has already been written, so the if you pass it again, then and it's a valid row index and valid row addresses, you write it, you count like 16, you make it 16. But So I can just simply cap it that if, because it's just a marker for read operation. So if row count is greater or equals to 15, I so 15th row, write it, last row it writes, it becomes 16, it becomes 16, and I make it again 0. Oh no, 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 this would break my logic. I again make it 50. If my count ever goes beyond 15, keep it 50. The fuck, why 15? Why are you picking a hard number? If my row count becomes greater than row size, keep it to row size. This point, this row is valid, valid, valid. This row size is valid. This row index is also valid here. But the thing is, this data is coming from Q, and the assertions are already there in place here that this cannot be violated. But it's safer than to be sorry. I think I should test it a little bit. West, of course. Request table is null. What the fuck are you talking about, brother? Kernel panic on can't read row which hasn't been written yet. The fuck, man? Are you mocking me? Okay, db thread runs. It is spits out current row index is greater than maximum number of rows that has been written. Can't read row which hasn't been written yet. DBC 24. Oh, not even checking. What is 24? Best of dir db thread edb db request table is null. dbc dot. Oh, but how can it be null? Because I am testing it in the assertion. Apache. db.c87 row index is less than row count. What the fuck, man? So row index 0 is greater than maximum number of rows. That has maximum number of rows 0 that has been written. So if I haven't can't read row which hasn't been written yet, so if the number of rows that I written is 0, makes sense, makes sense. And, yeah. So now the thing compiles. So what I'll do is request is this is the table, this is the row, this is the row index, um, this is the row index. What else do I have in this thing? Okay, so the response callback. Oh, vertically, how do I horizontally split? Okay, so I check for table, check for row, check for row index. Request type is not user defined. And then I write what condition is request response should not be equals to null. Response callback function cannot be null, bitch. Ito arigato. So the request response table row index and response, everything is covered. You can go, sir. Hi. Cool. Why are you saying this? What the fuck? Oh, Initializing unsigned int. The effects of type void. This is this. UNST. Row is this n bytes are I should pass in the object also that sort of called it. So can I must use struct tag to refer the type this y. Am I allowed to change the thing? A user is not should be able to change anything inside this thing. But if I'm able to pass the request object, then what is the point of this row and this n bytes? Because here on db read up the first let me test things and that my APIs and things are working, then I'll change it, right? Okay, so you definitely For some reason, uh, okay. Unit all these things. Why do I have this in here? This sort of an eyesore. Structure or union. Okay. But I can always do that now. But I to do this in here also, which is okay. The all current problem is when I call this write row, it doesn't write anything, does it? So this write is 0 definitely, otherwise this call would have failed. This write is 0. And मैंने कर दिया उल्टा. Type is right and read. Requestable is null. Why, buddy? DB thread, you are. But I have removed this thing. No, I have not. Table is null. How is the table null? So I pass in this request object which has this table which is temperatures, force. तेड़िए पानी दा. I'll solve it tomorrow. It is late in here. But I wonder why this is the problem, because I am getting messages, otherwise it would request table is null. 24 is this. Table is not null. What is this condition? Why it is? If it is not null, then I'm going to it. It has to be null. What the fucking crazy, man? If this is equal null, then I have a problem. If this is equal null, then I have a problem. A fucking stupidity at its peak. I continue and nothing happens. It worked. It worked. Let me write some data and confirm at row index 0 I'm writing temperature row. So inside my response, what I wanna write inside my response, I fucking know. I know that this is my row, and INF. I wanna print percent is not a struct or union. I think shadowing is happening. Temperature An expression of type constant discards constant qualifier. भाई डिस्कार्ड कर देते तो फिर फ़ायदा क्या इसका? बैंगन. Okay, so row wise this number of byte, this. Okay, so both are same. This works. This fucking works. रंग चढ़ा के आनी उड़िए पानी दा रंग चढ़ा. Seriously, man, that's true. You gotta keep moving, huh? And even when something feels so real, so authentic, it's baseless, it's pointless. Not baseless, not pointless, I would say. Even if something feels so genuine and so authentic, even then it can be an illusion. Even then you can be misunderstanding things. Makes you question fucking reality, does it? Doesn't it? I don't know, man. I don't know. Can I pass? What was the request type? So I can pass a request type. Because in this case, I sort of like right here, I'm passing this information. So I have like what I need. What I want basically what I want is row. Like I literally have access to my request object, and the request object has row and row index and everything. So I don't think should be an issue here. Read request type this. What? Okay, sorry, must be a typo. Right. Okay, so first is the write request type, then is the read request type. So what I'm saying is I can have this thing and this thing is here. This thing is I typecasted row into temperatures because row thing is white, and now in here I can simply pass in the request object because request object has everything. For read part, I say I'll say that this is your new row. Nah, oh, both addresses are same. Why is it the case? I create a table here. This would create 10 temperature rows. We'll call this rows in this table, which is temperatures table. Cool. So basically, I have this array, and now I create another row which is static one, and I'm saying that this is my request, which is into this table This is the row. This is a response callback. You call me the write, and inside write my request type is write. I take the table, I calculate I calculate this thing. This row is based on this, so this has to be different, na? From here I wrote it, but when it comes to this, when it comes to this, read, you wanna like your index is more important when it's a read operation. So from this data table I take out the index. I basically take out the address and I say that I say request dot response, and now I say that this is the row that has your data. Even in that case, it will get same. So does that work? I want to see one thing quickly. Which is are these addresses different or not? So for the read request, it should print what I receive in read request. Percent %f percent %s read request row pointer. Calculated row pointer. DB thread. Right is this. Read request pointer. Read request row pointer is this. Calculated row pointer is this. Those are going to be different. Very well. This is what I expected. Right में what would I receive in right? Read request row pointer. What would that read request row pointer do? For the read request, it doesn't matter what my pointer is because it is going to be modified. Calculated one is 8059. I'll receive in the right request. Okay, so this seems like a very good progress. I think this is almost finished, man. I just have to pass some tests. I think I'll keep this one. This thing that I'm simply passing What the fuck did I remove? Yeah, so I'm simply passing the request object, and it kind of makes sense that I'm modifying the object here, because this is the destination point, like, because the user actually is not passing any meaningful value in here, and user actually does not care in read requests about this row value. So it is of no use for user, and I can simply use this. Well, at least makes sense now. So but this way I'll have complete access of the tables and things and types. Right, so make a request, pass it on to write. What if I make multiple requests? Dot id equals to 2. What is my tr? I change the tr, so does the reference, and I write it. I change it again. 5. I read this. I read it same 5th value, which is well, let's just see the fact of it. Write request 1 2 3 4. Read request is only for 4th id, and I can why is the but it does put 2. 1 goes, 2 goes, 3 goes, 4 goes. So this calls with write request type id1. I simply say this thing now. Scope problem. I have write. Why I have only 4 write requests? Didn't I put 5 writes? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I did not. That if I put id equals to 5 and then I put the read request, what happens? My id is 5, max is 10. What is happening in here? Why am I getting 4 again? It goes my right read request. The read request is here. There is no warning. This thing is fine. Oh, temperature id is I mean I'm reading the row index is 0, so it doesn't but it's printing id 4. Okay, not okay, I don't understand. I changed this row's id value. So what happens is this thing becomes 5. I send this request object, which is this is a pointer to this thing, and row index is 0, and this is a table. Comes into this, gets the table, calculates the row based on row size and row index. Row index is 0. So at 0, wait a minute, I'm not increasing the index here. Okay, so that's why I'm getting it. tr dot not tr dot row index plus plus. Now I think it will do some error because the right I'm reading a row that hasn't been written yet. The row index gets increased, so first I write at row index 0, it becomes 1. I write at 1, so row index was 1 here. For this it becomes 2, becomes 3, 4, becomes 4. So I come here. What is my row index? Row index is 4. And then I modified this row. Which is the last value. And I simply just send it in here. That's why I have this 4. And cool, write operation happens. Now I want to read the first or zeroth very first row. What is this? That has id 1. And with everything which is id plus plus. id increase over here. id, I'm increasing the id, and as well as I'm increasing the row index, because that's another data point. And I'm also increasing the temperature by plus equals to 10 degree. So XO, XOB, XO3, I'm reading the 100 temperature. It works. That was a very good run. It compiles it. I'm gonna put some stupid commit message because why not? It's complete. That was quick. database within just how many lines of code it is? Whole code is fucking 100 lines of code with some assertions, man. It's like chef's kiss, I would say. With error handling, like basic error handling, completion checks, and invariance checks, including all this, just 100 lines of code and the database is done. This is surprising. Sounds like too good to true, man. Well, whatever it is, I'll be testing it in later streams. Yeah, boys. Bye bye. Good night.